or just having a conversation and talking to people like, I'm a sister or, a friend, and really just having that conversation, not from, Captain Moore. It's like, hey, this is Aprille talking to you. I need you to stop doing this right now because, we are not trying to be out here all night with you, okay?
Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
You're listening to the Black and Blue Podcast, a discussion and celebration of the roles of African Americans and other minorities in U.S. law enforcement. Your host on the Black and Blue Podcast is Dale Peters, a law enforcement professional with over 20 years experience in the business. Hop on board this Black and Blue train of interviews, current events, and pop culture conversations. So get ready. The Black and Blue Podcast is coming at you right now. Hey, Black and Blue fam, welcome to another edition of the Black and Blue Podcast. And this is where we celebrate diversity in U.S. law enforcement. Let me take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Dale, and I am the host. Thank you for choosing this show for a little bit of information and entertainment. If you like what you see, please consider clicking those like, subscribe, and bell icons right down here on my YouTube channel. Or if you listen to me on your favorite podcast platform of choice, consider rating the Black and Blue Podcast 5 stars. And be sure to check me out on any of my social media pages for even more content. You can find me everywhere at Black and Blue US. All right, so with that down, let's bring on today's guest. Today's honoree is a captain with the Fulton County Sheriff's Office in the beautiful state of Georgia. Black and Blue fam, let's give an emphatic welcome to Captain Aprille Moore. How you doing?
I am absolutely amazing. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm just out here chilling in Cali, watching the NBA Finals, and about to chop it up with another fine officer out in Georgia.
Yes. We are out here enjoying it. It's a little late where I am. It's not. It's beautiful weather, but it's a little late. But it's
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you staying up. Past 11 o'clock nowadays. It's hard for me to even stay up, but I appreciate you for coming on and staying on this late.
Of course.
Yeah. So you're in Georgia. What you said the weather's nice. What's the weather like today?
Oh goodness, today it was probably in like the 80s, maybe 90s. It was
Okay.
very beautiful outside. That nice
Yeah.
Georgia summer weather.
We getting towards the summer, right?
Yes,
Yes,
definitely,
but
definitely.
it gets humid over there though, right?
Very much so. Humid, then, out of the blue, it'll be like 40 or 50 degrees in the morning, and you're like, oh my goodness. Then,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
hot again. So, we fluctuate down here in Georgia.
All right. And Fulton County, where is that for me and the rest of the audience?
So, Fulton County is the largest county in Georgia, and it's closer to the northern part of Georgia. So it's closer, kind of central northern Georgia.
Is
But
that in the
for most people, Atlanta. If you know
Okay.
Atlanta, if
That's what
you
I was
know
gonna ask
Atlanta,
because yeah, I remember years ago,
yeah,
wasn't one of the stadiums, one of the sports teams, Fulton County Stadium?
it was. That was the baseball team.
The
Yeah, when
Braves,
we had the
okay.
Braves Stadium, and then they built their own stadium, and then they moved up to Cobb County.
Oh, okay. So that was years ago.
Yeah,
So no longer in Fulton
yeah.
County, huh? Okay.
Not
All
in
right.
Fulton County, but they're still the Atlanta Braves. So
They still
go figure.
yeah, they still the Atlanta Braves. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, right. And so you with the sheriff's office, you're a captain there. How long you been with Fulton County?
So I have been at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office since April of 2021, but I've been with Fulton County since May of 2006.
Okay, what'd you do before?
So I started my career as a 911 operator. I did that for about a year and a half. Then I went over to the Fulton County Marshal's Office and I served in the Fulton County Marshal's Office from 2006 up until 2007 up until 2021 when I went over to the sheriff's office.
Okay, so there are two separate agencies over there.
Well, actually, so we have the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, the Fulton County Marshal's Office, and the Fulton County Police Department.
Oh
So
wow,
we have
wow.
three in the county. Yes.
Yeah, out here, at least most counties I can think of out here in Cali, we don't have county police, just county sheriff offices, and no marshals. We used to have marshals offices out here, and yeah, L.A. County used to have a marshals, and Orange
Okay.
County used to have a marshals. A bunch of them did, but then they merged with the sheriff's office years ago. Cost cutting.
Yeah, I've seen that, especially down like in Florida and some other states. I see a lot of other states that do that, but not here in Georgia. Everybody has their own agency,
Yep,
almost.
everybody wants their piece of the pie. Keep
Hey,
their hand in the piece of the pie. Yeah, yep, yep. So
listen,
so what?
whatever works best for the citizens, right?
Right, right. So what is the difference between the marshal's office and the sheriff's office?
So the marshal's office works up under state court. And so with state court, you handle misdemeanor offenses. And we also handle some felony cases, but that's not always the case. It just depends on how it goes through. And then marshals are the only agency that handles evictions within Fulton County. And then also handle the state and magistrate court calendars as well. And so the sheriff's office handles the jail operations, also responsible for the security of the building and court operations for Superior Court. So the easiest way to think about it is Sheriff's Office handles all the Superior Court matters, Marshal's Office handles all the state court matters and does evictions. And then, of course, Sheriff's Office has the jail.
Okay, all right, all right. And do they handle any sort of investigations at the sheriff's office too, or?
So we have a criminal investigative division as well that does handle investigations. That unit also has our what is it called? It just slipped my mind that quick. So our specialized unit. So we work with
Okay,
task force from U.S. Marshals to DEA to other agencies that we
so
work
it's
with on a federal level.
more like fugitives and things like that.
Yep. Mhm. So and help with investigations, as well. So we have investigations.
Uh,
We are law enforcement.
yes, yes,
A lot
absolutely.
of times
And
people see sheriff, or a marshal, even a marshal, they're like, "Oh, y'all can't pull me over." It's like, this is actually not true.
yeah, yeah. Well, they definitely don't think that out here in California. I mean,
Of course, yeah.
yes, yes.
And
Sheriff's
Georgia is a
office
little
out
bit
here.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah, in Georgia it's a little bit different.
yeah. Out here in Cali, they go, "Whoa, sheriff's office! You might straighten up and
Better straighten
yep,
up
better
and fly
straighten up."
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, what made you want to come over from the marshals over to the sheriff's office?
Well, it was an opportunity that was presented to me. Sheriff Labatt here in Georgia, in Fulton County, he's the 28th sheriff here in Fulton County, and opportunity presented itself. He asked me if I would be willing to come over to the agency. He's always looking for great talent to come over, and he continually recruits folks to come over to help Fulton County Sheriff's Office become the best sheriff's office in the nation.
Nice. And about how large is the office?
So we have about 1,000 employees in the sheriff's office for Fulton County.
Okay. And as a captain, what are your responsibilities over there?
So my current assignment, I serve as the unit commander for our community engagement unit. And with community engagement, that basically means that I am responsible for coordinating or being a liaison with all 15 municipalities within Fulton County and looking at what their events are and ways that the sheriff's office can engage with citizens in a non-enforcement capacity, because a lot of times when people see law enforcement, they see us, either pulling someone over or, there's been an incident that
Mm-hmm.
requires us to intervene. So with our unit in community engagement, it's to create those opportunities and find ways to engage with citizens that doesn't require, it's not in that incident-based scenario, and build partnerships and relationships with our various community partners, neighborhood units, churches, just any wide range of community partners. Really changing the way that people view law enforcement and
Yeah.
creating prevention and awareness for folks in various communities about what we do and how to protect themselves as well.
Okay. Okay. And Atlanta being one of those places that a lot of black folks were flocking to ever since I don't know the
Yes,
'90s, and so it's got
yeah,
a pretty
still are.
pretty large affluent, yeah, pretty affluent African
Yeah.
American population there. What about the rest of Fulton County? What kind of the demographics?
Yeah, so the demographics of Fulton County, I mean, we have a large minority population. Typically, when you go a little bit further north in Fulton County, it's not as large a minority population. But I mean, honestly, Fulton County is a very diverse county from north to south. So, I mean, black folks, white people, Hispanic, Asian, it's just a very diverse county.
Cool, cool. And what about the department? Is it pretty diverse itself?
So our agency, Fulton County Sheriff's Office, I would say is probably about 90 to probably 95% African American, maybe even
Wow,
higher than that.
wow.
Even with our command staff, we is predominantly female. So
Okay, all right. And
yeah,
the sheriff is not female though.
no, sheriff is a male. He's African American. Mhm.
Okay, all right. Yes, definitely feeling those vibes over in Atlanta and Fulton County. I need to get out there someday.
Definitely have to come down here and
Yeah.
see what we got.
Mhm. Yep. And what made you want to get into law enforcement? Has it been something that you always wanted to do coming up, or what got you into this?
So interestingly, I wanted to be a lawyer. I went to school at Georgia State University, undergraduate, coming out thinking, hey, I love criminal law. This will be the thing that I do. Once I graduated, I had my oldest son about 3 weeks after I graduated from Georgia State. And I got accepted into a school, and that school was in Florida. And I was like, that is probably not going to work for me and my family and just having this baby. So I was like, I need to stay here, but I need some benefits. And that turned into me applying for a job in Fulton County. And I said, okay. And that led me to be a 911 operator and had a supervisor that came to me and said, hey, I really think you could do much bigger and better than this. And when an opportunity came available for the marshal's office, I applied for that, and the rest is history. I didn't know that this was going to be something that I was going to fall into, but it seemed like the next best thing based off of where I was, and I have literally fallen in love with law enforcement.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you. Had you regretted not pursuing law school? I mean, we're dealing with law now as officers, but
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I work with judges, have worked with judges, still, connect with them in various capacities in my role now. And I think God put me in the right place. I love what I do. The opportunity to connect with people and really be able to change how they view law enforcement, how they interact with law enforcement officers, or even just changing, how they view me personally. It's like, oh, I've seen you before. It's like, okay, you have a conversation with someone and they're more apt to change their perspective just through a conversation. So I definitely love what I do. And I mean, all I can say is that I was made for such a time as this.
yes, yes, and these are some trying times. I know we talked before we got the interview started about these mass shootings going on. How's
Yeah.
mass shootings and things like that affected you personally and your agency? I know out there in Atlanta, you've probably had some to deal with out there as well over the years.
Well, I would say for me personally, I mean, I have two children, so I mean, two boys, and taking them to school is always something that I have a conversation with them about, understanding that there are people that have weapons. Because my oldest son actually had a shooting at his school. It was a self inflicted wound. A kid was being bullied, and some other kids came up, and he couldn't get the weapon out. appropriately. And it's just interesting to see how all these things happen and the conversations that you have to have with your kids about those things, being in law
Mhm.
enforcement and seeing things from a different perspective. And then in a professional capacity, you look at making sure that officers are trained. You have a lot of people that reach out to you. I just had someone send me a message today asking if I could connect them with someone that could do active shooter training for them. So it certainly gets people ringing your phone. It gets the agency heightened to support agencies that need that help, and especially in our school systems, our Atlanta public schools, and then we have Fulton County schools. They certainly felt the brunt of that, trying to prepare their staff and their students as they were coming off to close out the school year.
Yeah. And it's a shame we got to start talking about that. I mean, obviously ever since, people, we had those postal incidents, way back in the 80s and 90s, so workplace violence, you had to talk about that. But then when we had to start doing it since Columbine with our kids, that's
Yeah.
just a shame that those are the things that we got to talk about. And I was reading or hearing somewhere where people were saying, we got fire drills in school out here in California. We got earthquake drills. Somewhere in the Midwest they got tornado drills. Pretty soon we got to start doing active shooter drills.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, honestly, there are some schools that are already doing that just because of some of the incidents, and they want to be proactive versus reactive in the case that, something like that comes to their front doorstep.
Yeah, yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame.
It
So
really is.
yeah, yeah. So you mentioned that you got two boys, and are any of them proud and wanting to pursue law enforcement like mom, or
So my oldest son, not so much. He's really into science and he loves cooking. So he may end up becoming a chef or doing something with forensic
okay?
science. Youngest, he enjoys it, and he'll say from time to time, he's like, "I'm going to be a police officer when I grow up." But he really just enjoys doing anything that his mother does. I love to run, so he'll like, "Mommy, let's go run together." So he just enjoys anything that can keep him connected to his mother.
Okay. So you a runner? You a marathon runner, or you do
I
distance,
am.
or
Yeah, I've done I want to say 6 marathons now. Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. You do them mostly out there? Have you done the Boston? Have you done any of the big ones?
I have not done Boston. That is definitely on my bucket list. I have done the New York Marathon. I've done the Chicago Marathon. I am scheduled to go to Berlin, Germany to do marathon out there. But I would say probably one of my greatest accomplishments, I did a marathon in Antarctica.
Wow, how was that? You running on ice, or what are you doing?
So that time of year in Antarctica is in the southern hemisphere, so it's the summertime. It was about 18 degrees, but it wasn't ice that we were running on. It was more so dirt that we were running on during that marathon. But it was certainly an experience, one and done. I said, you guys cannot get me back out here to do this again, but I'm glad that I had the experience and I could tell people that I did it.
Yes, definitely Antarctica, huh? So tell me,
Yeah.
when you're running, what's your preference in colder weather or warmer weather to be running in?
So I'm kind of a balance. So I have this funny thing, and people laugh at me all the time because whenever I run, I wear red lipstick and pearls. That's just my signature thing when I
In
run.
pearls?
I do. I wear pearls when I run, and not
Okay.
beads. These are real pearls that I wear when I run. And so when I do that, people are like, how in the world do you look the same when you started the race when you finish? I don't really sweat when I run, which is good in some instances, but you get really hot. So I typically like that kind of middle. I don't like really cold weather because your extremities tend to get too cold and numb, but I don't like really hot weather because I'll get overheated. So I like it right in the middle, about 50 degrees. That's the sweet spot for me.
Yeah, 18's a little bit different from 50 though.
It is. You know what? So I had on a snows. I wouldn't call it a snowsuit. So I had snow pants on, had a big puffy jacket, had the snow goggles. Wasn't really sure what all the elements were going to look like. I just wanted to be prepared, and I was as prepared. I didn't take any layers off. Had on, some trail running shoes and pushed through. It was very interesting experience. There's nothing out there except research bases, and of course, they have a few cars that the researchers use to get around on because we were on King George Island to get around the island part of Antarctica, and we camped out overnight while we were there. It's a very interesting experience. Very interesting experience. It was about 60 of us all together, but the cohort of us that went, it's about 28 of us that went out there together, a group of African American runners going to Antarctica to break some records and reach some goals.
Wow, that's what's up. And you did it in your pearls too.
I did. I definitely did get my pearls and my red
Loved it.
lipstick.
And your red lipstick. Can't forget
I
that. Can't forget that.
cannot at all.
All right, all right. So getting back to your job over there at the sheriff's office.
Mhm.
You've been
Yeah.
there, you said about a year or so now, and
Yeah.
you're a captain over, community relations and those sorts of things. Is part of your job, or it's kind of like recruiting, African Americans into this profession and kind of showing, kind of what this show's doing, humanizing the badge, showing that, we're people too and we like the same sort of things and kind of being transparent.
Definitely. So when I initially started my tenure at the sheriff's office, I was assigned as the assistant unit commander for training background, training background and recruitment, and that was definitely part of our plan to continue to recruit good people to come into the profession. And as I stated before, our agency is about 95% African American, so it's not really difficult to recruit folks in our area that are minorities to come into this profession. But law enforcement is really difficult right now. So having that conversation and making sure that we get the right match of folks to come in to work in this profession is always something that is at the forefront of our minds when we're recruiting people to come to our agency.
Right, right. And are you finding it tough? I know because it's tough all across the nation right now, recruiting. You guys finding it tough to find people that actually want to be in law enforcement nowadays?
Well, I'm not going to say it's tough to find people. I mean, we certainly have people, but we also have standards. And sometimes, it's still that thing, marijuana is not acceptable as a part of your daily walk and still being able to come to work in this profession. So that
Yeah.
is part of, some of the issues that we may see. But I think overall, I mean, we have a lot of good people that we've been bringing into our agency.
Absolutely. So are you originally from, Atlanta area? Are you born and raised or?
So I won't say Atlanta proper. I'm not sure if you saw the song. That's not Atlanta. So I'm not from Atlanta proper. I'm from a suburb of the metro Atlanta area,
Yeah.
Decatur. And we say
Okay, I
Decatur
heard of
with,
Decatur.
yes.
All right. So born and raised out there in the
Born,
ATL area. All right.
yes.
All right. And then so you came up and all your people still there, and how do they feel about you being in law enforcement?
So my father did not want me to be in law enforcement. I remember when I graduated from the police academy, and he's like, "I don't know how I feel about this." And even now, all these years later, he's still, he says that he's proud of me, but he still worries about his baby girl. So, I mean,
Oh yeah,
I still
yeah.
continue. And then you have some family members that are, I mean, honestly, just proud and excited that I'm working in this profession, especially when you see some of the things that are put in the media about law enforcement and some of the challenges that communities are having with law enforcement. So those in my family are extremely supportive of what I do and excited that I'm in this profession. And, I continue to do the work to try to make them proud as well.
Yeah, yep. And then when controversial incidents, you know, from all over the country happen, I'm sure your phone rings or your socials, start blowing up. And so, what do you think about this? And
Yeah, people always want to have the conversation about what they're seeing and wanting to get a law enforcement officer's perspective. And I always kind of look at myself as, a translator of sorts. I'm a black woman. I have two young black boys, but I also work in law enforcement. So I can speak both languages. I can speak from the experience of a black woman raising two young black boys, but I can also speak from my personal experience working in law enforcement for almost 17 years and be able to mesh those experiences and be able to communicate with folks to help people on both sides really understand what that looks like for everyone from their perspectives.
yeah, yeah. And how old are you two boys, if you mind me asking?
Sure. I have a 16-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Okay. And have you had to have that conversation with your 16-year-old about dealings with law
I
enforcement? How to act and what to do and what to say.
Yeah, I've certainly had that conversation with him. I mean, he's a very bright young man, and he's on social media, so he sees things, and we have those conversations when incidents happen, and what was wrong, what was right. How does he feel about it? How do I feel about it? How does he feel about me even still continue to go to work? Seeing some of the things that are happening, but we have those conversations on a regular basis, and I just always remind him that at the end of the day, you still, and then he's only 5'10", but I mean, he's 16, and he has a deep voice. And I told him, regardless of how young you are, someone may not always see you as a 16-year-old boy. And you just have to
Mhm.
remember that wherever you go, that people are watching. And, you just have to be mindful about that. I remember it was probably 6 months or so ago, I dropped him off at an event, and while he was there at the event, no one had gotten there yet, or maybe I dropped him off on the wrong side because I had another. Actually, no, he was riding one of the Uber or Lyft. Got dropped off, and he told me he couldn't find out where he was, so I was trying to call the people that were organizing the event and trying to get him where he needed to go. And I called him and I said, "Hey, are you still walking around?" And he's like, "Well, I don't see anybody over here." And I said, "Do you still have your hoodie on?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "You have the hood on too?" He's like, "Yes." I said, "I need you to take that off while you're walking around because there may be a security guard out there that sees you and they don't know who you are, and it's not really anyone else out there with you, and I don't want someone to think that you look suspicious while you're out there." So we have those conversations just to be mindful of the space that he's in everywhere he goes.
Yes, yes. Good words, and that's a good mother right there. Making sure,
Yeah.
yeah, making sure her baby's safe.
Always, always.
Always, yep. So, as a captain, as an executive in a law enforcement organization,
Mhm.
what do you think your responsibility is to try to recruit other females into this profession and kind of be that guiding light, that beacon?
Oh, it's a huge responsibility. I think everywhere I go, I communicate with women about the opportunities that there are for them in the law enforcement profession. And I think it's helpful because I'm petite, I'm 5'2", 130 pounds. And a lot of times people, well, specifically women, will say, "Oh, I'm too small for that." Or, I can't do that. I'm scared of this. When I came into this profession, I had never shot a gun before in my life, never touched one before in my life. And the first time I shot one, I mean, I was nervous. I didn't know what was going to happen, when I pulled the trigger. And as I've continued to go through this profession, you learn so many things. And there's just a different touch that a woman brings to conversations, that a woman brings to the table when you're talking about law enforcement and changing the narrative and moving the needle. So I always encourage young women that I come into contact with to really look at choosing this as a profession. I also work with college students. I graduated from Georgia State, and even when I was at the marshal's office, I served as the internship coordinator. So when I get female students that come in as interns, I would always have that conversation with them about needing more women in law enforcement, especially minority women as well. So it's always a topic of conversation when I speak with young ladies.
Yes, yes. And then going back to where you said, you being petite yourself and other females looking and thinking that they're too petite. Talk about kind of your experiences of, being able to talk your way out of situations that they say, that's, and they'll not just say it, I've seen it myself that,
Yeah.
females are a little bit better in communicating and de-escalating than some of us males are in the profession. Not to say that you can't handle yourself. Kind of talk about that, dealing with the unruly people and that we deal with in law enforcement.
One thing, and everybody that knows me, I love to smile, I love to talk, and I'm very big on treating people the way that I would want to be treated. And I've had a lot of incidents that I've been able to de-escalate because of, either telling a joke or really making light of a situation or just having a conversation and talking to people like, I'm a sister or, a friend and really just having that conversation, not from Captain Moore. It's like, hey, this is April talking to you. I need you to stop doing this right now because, we are not trying to be out here all night with you, okay? And they're like, oh man, okay, all right, all right. And it's really just about treating people with respect when you come into this space. And so I always continue to look at how I can do my job, but still be a person and still recognize that I'm dealing with a person that has a human condition just like anyone else that experiences life just like anyone else. And so I haven't had a whole lot of incidents, but I mean, there have been times that I've had to draw my weapon. There have been times where I've been punched in the face or, had to arrest someone and it turned into a fight. So I've had those incidents over my career, but thankfully they've been few and far between. And usually having a conversation with someone and treating them with respect has led, to a de-escalating a situation that could have gone, far differently.
Yeah, absolutely. So what have you liked most about being in law enforcement in your whole career?
Um, the thing that I love most, just over the years, looking at everything that's occurred in law enforcement, meeting people and having conversations with them, and them telling me I'm glad that you're doing this. Law enforcement, it's a good profession to go into. And, the money isn't as much as being in private sector. But when people tell me those things, those are the things that make me love this job even more and make me work that much harder to continue to change the narrative about law enforcement because you want people to know that they can be in community with law enforcement officers. And then also looking at, I mean, I could say like one of my favorite memories or just favorite things is when I was at the marshal's office and I started the junior deputy program. And I had kids that were 10, 11, 12. Well, no, it was 12. It was, now that I remember, I said 10. No, they start off at 12. So kids coming in 12 years old, and now these kids have graduated from college. They've gone to Tuskegee, they've gone to Morehouse, they've gone to these different schools. And, over the years, I've still kept relationships with them and to see them grow and have these positive interactions with law enforcement and even some of them going into security or law enforcement. I mean, it's just been a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually affecting people's lives is, kind of what we get out of this profession. And
Definitely,
so,
definitely.
yeah. Yep. And, on the flip side, what do you think has been, really challenging, as of late, it's been real challenging for all of us in law enforcement, but, you personally in, your career, what's been challenging for you?
I would definitely say looking at a lot of the incidents where you have black men that have been killed by police, and then you have people that look at me as a black woman, and some may ask a question like, how do you do this? Like, how do you work for a system that wasn't set up for black people? And I continue to tell people that I feel like I am a part of changing that narrative and that from the inside, of this profession. There are hundreds of thousands of law enforcement officers that are here to protect and serve, and that those that are doing things that go against the integrity and go against the oath that we've been sworn to, that is not the normal. And I of course don't discount people's experiences, understanding that these are real lived experiences for people, but I continue to do this work and am challenged daily to ensure that people know that there are people like me, like my colleagues, that are out here trying to ensure that we are protecting, that we are serving, and that we are continuing to change the narrative about what is happening in law enforcement today.
Yep. That's what we're all trying to do. So actually get out there and be the change you want to see. So instead of complaining from the sidelines, yep, get out there and be part of
Yeah,
that
got
solution.
some skin in the game.
Right. That part. That part. So what's next for you? How much longer you doing in this profession?
So, I'm only 39. So, I mean, in my mind, like the way I've thought about it, at least, maybe till 55, I'll be doing this. I mean, I love it. I mean, unless I just don't like working in law enforcement anymore, when it's not fun, when it's not something I feel like I'm affecting change, then, I will probably leave earlier than that. But, I mean, I'll be here till the wheels fall off.
Ride till the wheels fall off. Yep. I hear
Till the
you.
wheels fall off. Yeah.
Yep. You're not trying to be a professional marathon runner?
Absolutely not. I mean, I love running. I'm definitely not looking to do that as a profession. It can definitely take a toll on your body. Definitely take a toll on your body. But I enjoy it for right now. So it's a hobby. It's my coping mechanism. You look for positive ways to deal with stress. So that's what I
Yes.
do. I run.
Yeah, that's one way to get that stress out that body, all those toxins by running for sure. I'm not a runner,
Definitely.
I run because you got to do some cardio. That's probably the easiest way to get some cardio other than swimming. So I'll do that,
Yeah.
but no, after the academy, I don't do more than 5 miles, and you up here doing
Listen,
20 something.
So I worked out at the academy, almost 6 years, and I was a chief training coordinator for about 3 years. And all of my students that were in my classes, I mean, to this day, they have. I mean, they would say horror stories, but I would run them in the ground. I mean, I had
Yeah,
one of my classes nicknamed me the Punisher. I was like, y'all are doing way too much right now. But and my thing was, any exercise I asked you to do, I'm gonna do it with you. So it wasn't like I was just drill sergeant out there telling them to do stuff. I was out there doing it with them with a smile on my face. It's like, man, I don't see how you do this.
I don't know how
And
you doing this.
I
I'm
loved it.
glad
Still do.
glad I wasn't in your class.
Listen, a lot of them, I mean, to this day, it's almost like a badge of honor. They're like, I was in I was a sergeant back then. I was in Sergeant Moore's class. I was in Sergeant Moore's class. They wore it as a badge of honor because I had people losing 25, 30 pounds in 11 weeks. We were getting it in. Getting it
Okay.
in.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I wish you lots of luck out there still in Fulton County, and running in Antarctica, Arctica. You going to Berlin like you said and all that. So that sounds like that's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity. I want to get all those 6 stars for the Abbott's World Major Marathon. So I'm working on it.
Yeah, you working on that. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Captain. Well, you are not done yet. I got a game that I like to play with my guests. So let me set this up for you. This game is called
Black or blue, 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 black or blue.
All right, this is my black and blue game, and your category today is Georgia State of Mind. Georgia State of Mind, and that means famous people from Georgia. I'm gonna name a
Okay.
person. Yeah, I'm gonna name a person for you. You just tell me were they born and or raised in Georgia. Real
Okay.
simple. All right, and if you get more right than you got wrong, then you're gonna be the winner. So, pretty simple. You
Okay.
ready?
Yes. We'll see how I do on this.
All right. How about here's your first one here? How about Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts. I'm gonna say no.
Oh, you're wrong there.
Yeah.
She was born in Smyrna.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Interesting.
Okay.
And I love Julia Roberts too. Okay.
All right. Well, let's step it up here, Captain. Here we go. Here's your next one. How about Taraji P. Henson?
You know what? That is, I do not know because I know she moved out to California. I'm gonna say no because I think she's up from like up north, like Jersey somewhere.
That is correct. She is from D.C.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I knew she was because okay. I got that one right.
Yeah, you did. All right, 1 for 1. Let's get some more here under the belt. How about Raven Simone?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Yes, that is correct. Born in the ATL.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yes. I see you do that one. How about
Yeah.
Kenan Thompson?
You know what? I think Keenan is from Atlanta too, but no, that's Kel. I think Keenan might be too. I know. You know what? I'm just saying yes. I'm gonna go with yes.
Yes. All right. There you go. All right. He's actually born in Columbus, Ohio, but he moved to Atlanta when he was 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't remember. I Keenan and Kel. I couldn't remember which one, and I want to say I met him before too. So that's all we got with that. Okay.
All right, so you went with your gut. All right, good one there. How about Charles Barkley?
I mean, he's an athlete, so I mean, in my mind, I feel like every athlete probably has a house in Atlanta.
But born and raised, born or raised in Atlanta.
Born or raised? I'm gonna say no. I don't think he's born.
That is correct. She's from Birmingham.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Got that one right.
Yeah, you got that one right.
Okay.
Couple more here for you. How about MC Hammer?
You know what? I'm gonna say he was probably yes. I'm gonna say yes.
That's wrong there. No, he's from Oakland.
Is he? Oh, you know, I should have thought
Yeah.
about that. Tupac was real cool, wasn't he?
Only 2 wrong here. I think we got a couple more. How about Ryan Seacrest?
Ryan Seacrest. Yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Pull that one out of a hat. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he is
He
from
seems
Atlanta.
like from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris Tucker, Columbia High School. He's from Atlanta.
You do that one. Everybody knows. Yes, Chris Tucker is from the ATL. And how about Mark Wahlberg?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes.
Oh, come on, Cap. We all know he from Boston.
You know what? I should have known that. And only reason I think about that because they have Wahlburgers down here, and you know.
Right? Yeah. No, he's from Boston. Him and all the brothers, all them from Boston. And we how about Prince? This is a throwaway there.
Well, I'm gonna say no because he's from like Minnesota.
That is correct. Yes, he nowhere near Atlanta. He was from Minneapolis. Paisley Park is over there. And Gladys Knight.
Georgia, yes.
On that midnight train.
Midnight train, Georgia. I'm right now.
All right, that was all of them there. I think you got more right than you got wrong, so we're going to call you the winner. Hey, yes. Couple of them threw you for a loop there, but you got more right than you got wrong.
I appreciate that. I was doing good. You know, that Mark Wahlberg, I think I should get a recount on that.
I know. I mean, come on. Everybody know he definitely not from the ATL, you know. One that I was going to...
Hey, the Roberts threw me for a loop. So I was like,
Yeah,
you
that
know
one
what?
too.
Maybe I missed Mark Wahlberg too.
Hey, but you got Ryan Seacrest, though. I don't know how that... Yeah, I wouldn't have never guessed that.
I don't know how either. I just went with my good instinct.
All right, that always works out for you. All right, before I get you out of here, what about some words of wisdom for me and the audience on your way out?
You know, one of the things that I always kind of keep top of mind for myself, just in work, personally and professionally, is, and this is something that Andy Young actually told me at an event that I was at. He said, "There's no limit to what you can do as long as you don't care who gets the credit." I think sometimes as we do this work, you know, sometimes you want to put your name on stuff. You want people to know that you're doing things. And, you know, in due time, I believe all those things come. But right now, it's really about getting the work done. It's really about changing the narrative. It's really about driving, you know, yourself personally and professionally, whatever you do, whether it's in law enforcement or, you know, another profession. It's just get the work done and, you know, everything else will follow behind that.
Absolutely, everything will fall into place so long as you get that work done.
Always, always.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Captain. It was fun here. We got you through the game, and we learned about the ATL in Fulton County.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit. Well, I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely, and keep running and keeping those pearls on.
Oh yes, most definitely. You can catch me in my pearls and some red lipstick at a race near you one day soon.
One day soon, the LA Marathon. Come on out.
You know what? I might have to come out there for that. That might, I need to put that on my bucket list.
All right, all right, all right. You be safe out there. We'll talk to you
All
soon.
right. Have a great one.
All right, you too.
All right, bye.
Yes, yes, y'all. That's how we do it. Thank you, Captain Moore, for an outstanding interview. I wish you much success in all your future endeavors. If you guys out there enjoyed this interview too, be sure you click that like button right down here on my YouTube channel or rate it 5 stars wherever you hear my golden voice right now. I'll be back before you know it with another informative and entertaining interview, but till then, y'all know the phrase that pays. Stay black and blue. I'll holler at you. Deuces.
This has been a Maitre D Entertainment presentation.